The first time I heard her whisper my wife's betrayal, I felt the world tilt, not violently, but with the slow, sickening drag of a truth you already feared but never had the courage to name. "Your wife slept with my husband," the woman said, her voice barely louder than the hum of the bar's old refrigerator. "And I think we should join forces." Her words hit harder than the whiskey in my hand. I turned to look at her properly. She was mid-30s, sharp-eyed, composed in a way that suggested she'd spent hours holding herself together before approaching me. Her fingers trembled as she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'm sorry," she added. "I shouldn't have started like that. My name is Alina." My throat tightened. "Why would you say something like that?" She exhaled a long, shaky breath and pulled out her phone. "Because I have proof." And just like that, the night I'd stepped out only to clear my head turned into the night everything I knew about my marriage began to collapse. I'd always imagined betrayal would come with fireworks, shouting, slammed doors, some dramatic, movie-style confession. But the truth rarely arrives so theatrically. Sometimes it approaches you gently, like a stranger at a dimly lit bar, and ruins your life with a whisper. As Alina's phone screen lit up, I felt my stomach drop. There they were. Blurry photos but unmistakable in posture, closeness, the intimate tilt of my wife's smile. My wife Emma, a woman I'd loved for nearly a decade. My voice emerged thin. When was this?" "2 months ago," Alina said. "At a hotel downtown. My husband lied about a work conference. I only found out because he forgot to delete a synced folder." Bitterness flickered in her gaze. "They thought they were clever. They weren't." The bar felt colder. No, I felt colder. I swallowed. "Why tell me? People usually handle this sort of thing privately." "Because I tried confronting him," she said. "He denied everything." "And your wife?" She stopped herself, then shook her head. "Let's just say she didn't respond kindly when I reached out." My jaw clenched. "What did she say?" "That I was jealous. That she and your wife were close, but not in any inappropriate way. Then she blocked me." I felt a pulse of humiliation in my chest. That sounded exactly like something Emma would say. She had a talent for sounding offended whenever anyone questioned her integrity. She'd done it with me too. Anytime I'd asked about her late nights at work or the sudden team dinners she never used to have. "Look," Alina continued softly, "you don't have to do anything. I didn't want to be the only one carrying this." She made it a few steps away before I finally found my voice. "Wait." She stopped. "Sit," I said. She returned to the stool beside me. Up close I could see the exhaustion lining her eyes. She looked like someone who had cried enough tears for the both of us. For a moment neither of us spoke. Then she whispered, "I'm sorry. I know what this feels like. And it's awful." The next day, I watched Emma pack her gym bag as sunlight spilled through our bedroom window. She moved with the same ease, the same pretty laugh, the same practiced kiss on my cheek. "I'll be back in a couple hours," she said. "Don't forget we're supposed to have dinner with my parents tonight." A nauseating question burned in my throat. I didn't ask it. Not yet. Because part of me still needed the truth to come from her. Needed her to look me in the eyes and admit it, so I could know she respected me enough to say something real for once. Instead, I said nothing as she left. When the door closed, the house felt too big, too quiet. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, staring at the spot she'd stood only minutes earlier, remembering all the times she'd smiled while lying, all the times I'd trusted her without hesitation. By evening, I wasn't sure what hurt more, the betrayal itself or how convincingly she'd pretended nothing was wrong. Alina and I kept talking. Not romantically. Not angrily. Just two wounded people trying to make sense of the wreckage. She revealed more photos, a few text messages, one recorded phone call that had accidentally saved on the cloud. Nothing graphic. Just words dripping with familiarity and secrets. Words that made my chest hollow. "She was the one who initiated," Alina murmured one night on the phone. I heard it in his voice. She made him feel like she understood him better than I did. My hands tightened around the armrest of the couch. She told me she felt disconnected from me. That I'd been distant. Work has been hell. It wasn't like I stopped caring. "People like them don't cheat because they're unloved," Alina said. "They cheat because they want more attention than one person can give." There was a grim truth in her voice. So what now? I whispered. A quiet beat. Revenge, she said. Not the childish kind. The honest kind. The truth kind. The plan wasn't elaborate. Didn't need to be. Alina discovered another upcoming meetup. Another lie her husband had fed her. I found the matching lie Emma gave me. She told me she was heading to a wellness seminar with coworkers. I stared at her message long after it buzzed into my phone. Anger simmered beneath my ribs, but sadness, deep suffocating sadness, outweighed it. I still loved her. God, that was the worst part. Alina and I arrived at the hotel an hour before they did. The sting of anticipation felt like salt ground into an open wound. We sat in the lobby, pretending to scroll our phones, waiting for the moment that would end what was left of our marriages. When the elevator chimed, we both looked up. There they were. Laughing. Comfortable. Close. For a second I couldn't breathe. The sight of Emma's hand brushing his arm felt more violent than any punch I'd ever taken. Alina grabbed my wrist. Not tightly, just enough to steady me. You ready? No. Not at all. But I nodded. We followed them to the front desk, keeping our distance. When they turned down the hallway toward their room, we approached. Room 417. Alina looked at me, then knocked. There was a shuffle. A click. The door cracked open. My wife's face appeared. And drained of color instantly. Mark. I had imagined this confrontation 1,000 different ways. But standing there, staring at her as reality crashed between us, all I could say was, "Don't lie. Not tonight." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Her lover appeared behind her, equally stunned. "What is this?" Emma whispered, voice trembling. "Truth," Alina said coldly. "Something you two weren't interested in giving." For a long, painful moment, no one spoke. I held Emma's gaze. The woman I thought I knew. The woman I trusted with my whole heart. "Why?" I finally asked. Her eyes filled with tears. I don't know. I was lonely. We were distant. I made mistakes, but... "Stop," I said softly. "Please. Just stop." Because the excuses hurt more than the betrayal. Behind my ribs, something quietly broke. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I just turned around and walked away. Alina walked beside me, equally silent. Outside the hotel, the night air wrapped around us, cool and strangely peaceful. We stood beneath the street lamp, two strangers bound only by heartbreak. "What now?" she asked, voice small. I exhaled. "Now we heal. Separately. Slowly. Honestly." She nodded, eyes glimmering. "I'm proud of you, you know. Most people would have dragged it out, denied it, begged them to stay. I won't beg someone to love me," I said. "Not anymore." A faint, sad smile touched her lips. "Neither will I." We parted ways in the parking lot. Not as partners in revenge, but as survivors of the same storm. And as I drove home, alone, hurting but strangely steady, I realized something. Revenge wasn't the confrontation at that hotel. Revenge was walking away without letting their choices define the rest of my life. And for the first time in months, the future didn't feel like a sentence. It felt like a beginning.